It's time for our daily dose of cope. And Elongated Musty has announced that he is walking away from his Doge position. And so that kind of touched me. I came up with this little song. It's not really a little song, just a little tune. Go to the end of Doge Road. We don't want to see you no more. You're unnatural. Take your butt back home. Go. Okay. Let's move on. Here's his announcement on his platform. As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank the puppet President Trump, who I bought and paid for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. And he's probably, stolen enough of our information to where he could go off and do whatever nefarious things he was planning on doing. Shadow Ninja asked Grok, which is Elon Musk AI, to summarize his achievements as a special government employee. Grok is saying that this is a mixed bag, that he's claiming that he saved about $160 billion by terminating wasteful contracts. He's saying that he saved $255 million from 269 contracts. That's not a lot. Supposedly, he modernized some systems. But down here, it says, however, these efforts face criticism for potential cost of $135 billion in productivity, legal challenges, and service disruptions, because they're cutting all this staff for critical services and all of these lawsuits that all of these people are facing. And they're basically paying people to sit at home and not work. That's basically what they're doing, because they are firing people. Everything is up in limbo, and those people are still collecting a paycheck. So everything that he's doing has been quite silly, and it's going to remain under scrutiny. Plus, all of the things that he has done has caused him to be a political pariah, and his company has gone down the tubes. Globally, stock valuation has been up and down like a roller coaster. And, now he's just looked at as a supervillain. So Grok didn't say all that. That little extra was me. Now let's move on to our Leopards Are Feasting programming. This segment is brought to us by the Real House Leopards of Washington, D.C. Let's jump into some stories. Let's do some tweet transitions. People tend to like that. This is Dan. He's talking to Biden right here, saying, you can't even buy a gas station sandwich for under $7. Why would you be buying a gas station sandwich? I do not know. He says, your economy sucks, bro. Quit. And my God, don't even get me started on what you're doing for the fuel prices. I wish Donald Trump was back in office. And I guess a cuss word. Now he's talking to Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries says House Dems are building a healthy economy. The other side wants to crash it. And then Dan says, you're a liar. Your inflation is taking out America. And then on November 6th, he told Kamala Harris, on behalf of America, you're fired. And he did not use the correct your. Please look at the screen. On behalf of America. I guess here AOC is talking about Elon Musk doing his Schnazi salute, saying, you are literally making fun of a man for being mentally handicapped. Elon is on the spectrum. He was simply saying, my heart goes out to you. You're trash. Okay, so I'm basically giving him an excuse. Brian Eastwood asked the question, are you regretting your vote for Trump? And on January 23rd, he says, hell no, couldn't be prouder of his first 2 days in office. Either it's going to be a great 4 years. He has an issue with speaking, but whatever. Rand Paul, like Democrats or any other people that have some sense, are telling people tariffs are taxes. And Dan says, yeah, that's right. Taxes the other countries pay instead of American citizens, just like Mexico paid for the wall. Liberation Day. Hakeem Jeffries is talking about everything that happened with Liberation Day. He says they have no mandate for any of this, and he's reacting to how the markets crashed. And Dan says that's because we don't date men, we date women. You sound gayer than AIDS. Literally, what does that even mean? He's talking about tariffs and the market plunging. And then Dan says that's because we don't date men, we date women. Like, why is he saying this? Now, I will say this man does not sound regretful as he types up his Dear Don letter. He says, I doubt very seriously you're even going to see this, but I voted for you 3 times and I just wanted to tell you you're doing a great job. But man, as a dad, I can barely afford to feed my kids. The price for groceries is ridiculous. $5 for butter. So he just needed to let him know that it costs $5 for butter. But he should know, Dan should know that that Trump just invented the word groceries not too long ago, like back on the campaign trail. So maybe he just didn't know that it cost a lot. He should really tell him how much it costs to buy a gas station sandwich. Maybe, he needs to just rope him in to how much things cost at the gas station. I highly doubt that Trump and the MAGA House Republicans' big, beautiful bill is going to make it out of the Senate without being chopped up like the men on the grill at Benihana's. But if it did, it would jack up many red states and the people that receive Medicaid and SNAP, because red states are typically impoverished and red states are typically real welfare states. So this is an article that says, in a county that backed Trump, people depend on Medicaid and are conflicted about cuts. They should be conflicted about cuts because it's going to jack up their health care and their food, their ability to eat. So yeah, you should be conflicted. Like many residents of this copper mining town in the mountains east of Phoenix, Debbie Cox knows plenty of people on Medicaid. Cox, who is a property manager at a real estate company in Globe, has tenants who rely on the Safety Net program. And at the DV shelter where she volunteers as president of the board, Cox said, staff always looks to enroll women and their children if possible. But Cox, who is 65, has mixed feelings about Medicaid. It's not that I don't see the need for it. I see the need for it literally on a weekly basis. I also see a need for revamping it significantly because it's been taken advantage of for so long. So she sees that people need it, but they're going to take it away, and now she has to make it make sense in her brain that she voted to have people's benefits taken away. It wasn't hard to find people in Globe like Cox with complicated views about Medicaid. Gila County, where Globe is located, and I don't know if it's Gila or Gila, where Globe is located, is a conservative place. Almost 70% of the voters went for Trump in November, and concerns about government waste run deep. Like many rural communities, it's also a place where people have come to value government health insurance. The number of Gila County residents on Medicaid and the related Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, has nearly doubled over the past 15 years, according to data from the Georgetown University Center for Children and Families. Today, almost 4 in 10 residents are on one of health insurance plans for low and moderate income people or those with disabilities. So, since House Republicans passed plans to cut roughly $716 billion from Medicaid, the national debate taking place over the program hits close to home for many Globe residents, even as some welcome the prospect of tighter rules and less government spending. For Heather Heisler, the stakes are high. Her husband has been on Medicaid for years. We're ranchers, and there's not much money in ranching, said Heisler, who gets her own health care from the Indian Health Service. Most people think there is, but there isn't. Heisler was selling handicrafts outside the Old County Jail in Globe on a recent Friday night when the town hosted a downtown street fair with food trucks and live music. She said Medicaid was especially helpful after her husband had an accident on the ranch. A forklift tipped over and he had to have part of his left foot amputated. If anything happens, he's able to go to the doctor, go to the emergency room, get medicines. She shook her head when asked what would happen if he lost the coverage. It would be very bad for him. And then if these people lose Medicaid, it's also going to impact these rural hospitals. Rural hospitals will close. So things like this happens, and then what's going to happen? People are going to expire unnecessarily because of the cruelty of the Republicans. Now, Trump and the MAGA Republicans are not worried about the poors. They're worried about the MAGAs that are in the limelight, the MAGAs that can pay and donate to his campaigns or his slush funds or whatnot. These are the people that he's concerned about. Anyways, let me know what you think about all this. Join the conversation, like, comment, share.
I just saw this video. Billionaires could have used more money. Take that.
Everybody was tagging me, so I made it into a full song. Where are my shoes? Last, add some bass. Let's hear it.
Billionaires could have used more money. Take that money from the poor. Why do the poor need health care, really? Take Medicaid from the poor. Drill, baby, drill just to save a nickel, but don't give that nickel to the poor. Put chemicals in your food and water, then give that stuff to the poor. The rich seem to be sex freaks, that's wild. Always mentioned in the Epstein file. They cried when they brought up at the Diddy trial, but smile when you steal it from the poor. Billionaires could have used more money. Take that money from the poor. Why do the poor need health care, really? Take Medicaid from the poor. Drill, baby, drill just to save a nickel, but don't give that nickel to the poor. Put chemicals in your food and water, then give that stuff to the poor. The rich seem to be sex freaks, that's wild. Always mentioned in the Epstein file. They cried when they brought up at the Diddy trial, but smile when you steal it from the poor.